So, we have some new patch notes out for Teamfight Tactics, patch 10.15. I, once again, will formally lodge my complaint about number .1015 coming after .9. We should have gone to .09 first, and then gone to 10, and now we're at the 15. But these are minor complaints that I will continue to complain about, because I can. So, overarching, a lot of people were not happy with the meta. I particularly was not happy with 10.13. 10.14 was better. It's still not great, but it was better. So it sounds like a lot of thought has gone in at Riot to making 10.15 a lot better. So we'll come back to this. We'll go through each one by one. So we have a new galaxy, the Plunder Planet. So anytime a champion dies, it has a chance to drop a coin on death. This stacks with space pirates, so if a coin drops from this, it will be silver, and if a coin drops from a pirate, it'll be gold. So that's how you know the difference between the two. My instant reaction on this is actually not great. So my understanding of how this works is it's supposed to balance out over a duration of the game. That's actually kind of a problem logically for Teamfight Tactics, because your economy in the early game is far more important than your economy in the late game. Getting gold in the late game is kind of whatever. Getting gold in the early game is very important. So essentially what this means is that on the Plunder Planet, to me, logically, you should level up at all times. You should just level. Just like hardcore screw the econ level. Why? Gives you the most chance of actually destroying other units. Get your 2 stars and level. Like, don't eco. Because if you do well enough, the Plunder Planet should be giving you more eco. That's my thought. I don't like it because that's kind of where the meta has gone today. There aren't a lot of eco strats. It's very rare to see people ecoing. It's hard level, get your 2 stars, and just run. Side note, Nicoverse has been removed. I'm kind of glad. Nicoverse just became get your tier 4 carry, 2-star them, and yay, good things happen. I think the theory on Nicoverse would be you could use it in the early game, the win streak, but that just really wasn't logical when a lot of the difference between a 6th place and a 4th place became getting a tier 4 carry up to 2-star. On a more positive note, Galactic Armory is being changed. So I've joked multiple times that Galactic Armory is the Grief Galaxy, because it was incredibly common to get 2 items that just clearly made one build better than all the others. So they've changed it. Now you get 3 components rather than 2 completed items. This is actually a brilliant change. I love this change, because this allows you to keep variety. When you had 2 completed items, like you were tunnel visioned on a build, 3 components plus the 3 components you get in stage 1 allows for like a vast amount of building. Like you have a lot of freedom as to what items you want to make with those 6 items. It makes it more likely you're going to be able to make good builds. It also probably makes Cyber really good in Galactic Armory. Not that Cyber wasn't already really good in Galactic Armory. Trait changes, Celestial. So we'll probably get into this a bit more, but Celestial 2 is going from 20% to 15%. The reason for this is pretty clearly because Celestial plus Protector is very good. And Protector was very good. And when 2 of the Protectors are already Celestial, this was free. So this change is warranted. 4 and 6. I mean, I think I've seen 4 Celestial 4 maybe once. You can do it in Protectors, but like if you actually go for 4 Celestial and Protectors, that's actually kind of impressive. I think Shredder does it too. But yeah, this is a good change to going down to 15, because it made Protectors were already really strong. This balances it out a little bit without completely hampering the obvious synergy between Protector and Celestial. Champion balance. Graves, his blind duration goes from 235 to 246. I worry a little bit about this because Graves was super strong back when it was higher. To be honest, I kind of wish instead of going 346, they went 335. This would make 1-star Graves a lot better and just up the damage at 2-star. I think 4 seconds at 2-star is too long. I think that's obnoxiously too long. Don't really care about the 6 seconds. But the 4 seconds is probably too long. Alright, now for the big one. So, the general complaint of the previous patch, well, there's really a couple complaints. But the current complaint is Jarvan is busted as fuck. This is a true statement. Jarvan is very busted. Why is Jarvan very busted? It honestly probably comes down to this right here, what they're changing. They're poking the right bear here. When Jarvan had this obscenely high attack speed, it meant he auto-attacked a lot, which meant he got a lot of mana back really quickly. So he was able to ult a lot, which then got him a lot of attacks. And you're starting to see the pattern here. It was kind of just a pit of lots of auto-attacks for Protector, which allowed Protector to get Protector shields, and just endless amount of Protector shenanigans. This was a big problem in the early game, and in the late game, this near field-sized attack speed bonus was kind of obscene. So, they're bringing this down to more sane levels. Since the other buffs that they previously had for Jarvan still stand, it doesn't completely destroy Jarvan, in my opinion. But this also makes it so that you're not just going to like put Warmogs and Bramble on him and expect him to carry forever. You're just not. He's now just like, you get him 2-star, play him in Dark Star, play him in Protectors, and that's probably about it. Next, the Tier 2 champions, Darius. Okay, so Darius is getting a buff. I think I've made my complaints about Darius before, since there's no Mana Reaver, and Darius... Well, I say there's no Mana Reaver. They got rid of Kassadin, which was the Mana Reaver that you would most likely play with Darius, because the other Mana Reaver was Aurelia, which you would play with Cyber, and was a Tier 4, and Thresh, who was a Tier 5 unit. So finding Mana Reaver at this point in the game when you're finding Darius's, and it doesn't happen right now. So you almost just never prop Mana Reaver, which leaves Space Pirate. Space Pirates are kind of a meme. It's literally built to be a meme. You play in the early game to maybe get some extra gold, but you don't actually like go in on it. With the exception of Space Jam, which I don't want to talk about Space Jam. Space Jam to me has kind of always been a meme build, but people like to do it because it's memey. So they've increased his health, which I'm fine with, and they decreased his total mana. This one I'm not as fine with. I have an issue with champions that's alts refresh on kills, because it's a really great way to wipe a board with just one ult, which I don't think should be happening. But being able to more quickly do this ult when you don't kill something is probably not great. But that said, I don't know how you play Darius anymore, so I don't think this is really, in the end, that meaningful. Now for some more meaningful stuff, Lucian is getting a buff. This one, I've got my eye on. This combined with the Graves buff could be very, very, very good. I know these at 1-star don't seem like much, but what's more important is what happens at 3-star and this mana drop. This mana drop means that he can be a blue buff carry, which, like, blue buff in Cyber has been, like, I don't know what to do with this. If you put, like, a blue buff on him, or a Ludens, this makes him way better. Like, Ludens on Lucian is now really good. It was good before. Now it's really, really good. It's also good red buff. Like, these two combine, the 3-star buff really just allows you to play him at 3-star. Which, being a 2-cost makes it awkward, because it's hard to 3-star 2-cost. You don't stay at that level long enough to get 3-star 2-cost very easily. But there's now a reward for it, and the reward is fairly high. This is a ton of damage. I don't think it's to the point that he's going to be your carry, but he can carry you through the mid-game with these 1-star and 2-star buffs. Along with this new mana change that makes it so that he's going to ult a lot more. This is probably the big change. This is the little change that people are going to notice when they actually 3-star him. Rakan health going down to 650. Yeah, Rakan likes to fly across the board and be a pestilence to me, so I'm pleased with this. 3-star changes. Ashe starting mana is going down. Why? Because Ashe ults too much when you give her Sojourns and Hurricane. Yeah, that's pretty simple. This one is iffy. So I complained when they changed the Yasuo targeting function. I complained about it because I knew single-handedly that was going to destroy a build. Because Yasuo's targeting priority made him very unique and very useful. Because you could blow up people who were just tunnel visioning on a single carry. And it just made those builds really easy to beat. So you had to think about where you wanted to put your items more, split up, and have multiple carries. Yasuo was a counter to builds that were relying on one carry. They got rid of that. So what did they do now? They want to make the Bang Bros build good again. Now they nerfed Master Yi before. I forget it was the true damage at 3-star. I think they nerfed off the top of my head. And you didn't really see this build anymore after that. And I think everyone kind of understood that the damage nerf that he was eating was going to make him kind of unplayable. These are huge armor and magic resist buffs. This is like bigger. I think it's bigger than what they gave Aurelia when they buffed Aurelia on the last patch. These are very big numbers. With these numbers, I think the build is back, and I think it's actually going to be very good. I'm not 100% sure what the itemization on that build looks like anymore, but this will see play. People will play this. It will be good. Next, Nico. Yeah, I think I talked about this on the last patch. This was one. There were two things that when the patch notes came out, when they were changing the mana on all of the Star Guardians, there were two that stuck out. One was Syndra, which was obviously a mistake, as it was hotfixed the day of launch. The other was Nico. This was too low, especially on a protector with an AoE stun. And it's clear they saw that too, and they added an extra 10 mana. I'm fine with this change. This is a good change. More importantly, they buffed Vayne attack damage. Like, Vayne took a 15 attack damage hit on the last patch, and that completely destroyed her, and everyone understood it was going to completely destroy her. So they're going to bring her back up by 5. Fair. I agree with this change. Essentially, they're just undoing the change they did individually to Vayne, but you still have the nerfs to Cyber. So this is fine. This allows you to itemize Vayne along with Aurelia, who is, like, kind of crazy right now. If we ever see her again. Because Cyber was in a weird place last patch where they buffed Aurelia to the sky, and then you'd play her and then she'd die because she got stunned by something. Which I'll talk about stuns later because there were too many this patch. Jin's getting a nerf on his 4-shot because his 4-shot is a murder weapon. So that's getting toned down. Jin's 4-shot is supposed to be a murder weapon. It's not supposed to one-shot every single unit in the game. So it's getting toned down. I believe that this is a damage buff to him, the way he works. This is Jinx. Oh, I read it wrong. See, Jinx. So Jinx. Jinx was in a bad place last patch. Basically never saw play. Sometimes saw play, but very, like, you were running uncontested every time, which is comparable to 10-13, where everyone ran Jinx every time. This should bring Jinx back up a little bit. Actually, it probably won't. I think all the nerfs in total will probably bring Jinx back more than this buff. So you're going to see blasters again. I'm pretty sure you're going to see blasters again. All the hits that Darkstar, the Celestial, so the Protector nerfs, you should see Jinx again. Soraka. So Soraka's really interesting. If you ask a lot of the like top players in this game, they will all tell you that Soraka is insanity. That Soraka's healing is really obnoxiously high. But you don't really see that below Masters. At least in my opinion, from what I've seen watching other players play. Like, not many people actually play Soraka unless they're in the upper tier of this game. So they decided to give her a tiny nerf. I'm fine with this. Not much else to say. Victor is in a weird spot right now. Victor is in a weird spot because A, he is Battlecast, which is bad. And 2, Xerath is generally considered your endgame mage carry. A combination of Xerath and Syndra. So you have 3 mage ending carries here. Really 4 if you count Riven. In Victor, Riven, Xerath, and Syndra. That is way too many mage-based carries. Like, it's very hard to come up with good builds to play that are different. So, like, if you're playing Star Guardian, you're pretty much always going to play Syndra. If you're playing Darkstar, you're pretty much always going to play Xerath. So, how do you fit in Riven? Well, going back in time, we'll play 6 Sork Riven. Well, why would you play 6 Sork Riven when you can play 6 Star Guardian? Because you're going to have at least 3 Star Guardians in that 6 Source Ribbon build anyway. Probably 4. So why would you play Riven in that? Why wouldn't you just play 6 Star Guardian, which is probably a better build? Victor is in the same boat. Why would you play Riven when you can play these other builds that are just better? So I played with Victor before when I was playing Star Guardians and I couldn't hit a Syndra. Victor's still good, but the damage nerf hit him pretty hard. He was kind of unwieldy. And just so you know, in that game, I got Victor 2 before I found a single Syndra. It was wild. Thanks this meta, whatever this was. So, to kind of separate him from the other spellcasters, they're reducing his mana down to 6. So, down to 60. Means he ults a lot more, obviously. And he also makes him kind of crazy with a blue buff. I don't know if this is enough to get him to see play. Because he doesn't provide any utility outside more damage. You're basically going to play him when you can't find a Xerath. Or the items you get better fit him than they do Xerath. Xerath is like kind of always your endgame Sork. Because Xerath does too much damage and synergizes incredibly well with Jhana. So, like, finding that hole where you can play Victor is going to be difficult. I like this change though, because I do think it kind of gives Victor like this unique niche position for him to play into. It's just like, why would I play him when I can play something else that's probably better? Tier 5 champions, Jhana. Jhana is kind of the bane of my existence right now. I think a lot of the problems with the meta right now don't even go back to Darkstar, they go to Jhana. The end game has basically become who can get Sojourn, Hurricane on their Jhana to make Jhana ult indefinitely and make Xerath murder everything. These two in particular have combined to create a hurricane of death all over the battlefield. All while you're stunned, because Jhana's ult provides a stun. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I think Janna, like, the game would be a lot healthier without Jhana right now. I think Jhana does way too much. She turns all of your physical damage into spell damage. She turns all of your spell damage, if you're a Star Guardian, into true damage. Like, what are... She provides a mass AoE stun. She increases the attack speed of all your unit. Like, she's doing too much. There's just too much that's being done by Jhana. So, I'm of the opinion that Jhana would probably be better off not in the game right now. That's kind of my opinion. I'm curious, like, what other people think on this, but I think Jhana has been very unhealthy to the current meta. Going down to Xerath, Xerath kind of fits in with Jhana. Xerath is really just getting hit because, like, they didn't hit Jhana all the way. So they're reducing his starting mana, which I find iffy. Like, my issue with Xerath is that, like, when he ults, he either just uncontestedly mops the floor with your field, or he takes some random bit of damage that wasn't even a stun and resets himself. I'm, like, very unclear with how Xerath's ult functions, because, like, sometimes it feels like he doesn't even get stunned and he stops ulting, and I'm like, okay, that was cool. They are nerfing his health, though, which I think is okay. You try to get an infiltrator on him, and they stack him up with a bunch of other things, and you just, like, can't get to him and kill him before he starts murder deathballing your whole field, and it's really awkward. So lowering the health, I'm cool with. Nocturne properly interacts with QSS. I've actually never seen this because no one makes a QSS in the early game, and that's the only time you ever see Nocturne. So they delay. So at the end of the round, how do I want to say this? I've run against this problem quite a bit. If you have a match that takes a bit too much time and you get to the end of a round, like, and you're waiting to see the results of the round before you make your shot buys and your sells, it's very easy to, like, not get those inputs in before the round ends. The time you have is very tight. So they're adding that time back in. I'll have to see what that looks like. Tiebreakers. If a match went to overtime, tiebreakers kind of got whacked. So that's been fixed. Good fix there. So that's it for the patch notes. Kind of going over some of the highlights. Master Yi gets a big buff. Blasters all got buffs. I think this Urgot was a misclick. I don't think this was supposed to be in here. Darius gets some buffs, but I'm not quite sure how meaningful they are. Galactic Army gets a very positive remurf. The Tier 4 Galaxy, where you just get your Nico, you get your Tier 4 carry Nico and just smash people, that's gone. New Plunder Planet Galaxy, where you just incestuously level and get your 2-star and just kind of laugh maniacally and say, screw the money, I have big stuff. Nerfs. So if you notice, all of 5 of these are played in the same composition. If you notice a theme. Yeah, Darkstar. So here is my thing with Darkstar. Darkstar is interesting in that it is a very flexible composition in how you build it and how you run it. You don't actually have to run all 5 of these units. These don't have to be your carries. You can play Shaco and make Shaco your carry, and just put Jin in the corner to do some extra damage. You can go mass protectors with this, and have 3 to 4 protectors out on the field while you're playing Darkstars. But in the end, you were always playing these units. So while your composition was very flexible, you were still always playing these units. You just changed one thing out for another to get a different synergy. You just changed one carry in for another to have a different focus of your damage based off the items you pulled. So you were just doing the same thing every game, and you weren't really, and your pivots were just minuscule. They didn't mean anything. So that's kind of my take. I do think this patch will hopefully put the game in a better place. I do worry about some buffs that went in, particularly this Master Yi one. I do worry that this Master Yi one could be a bit excessive. But overall, I do think it will kind of put the game into a better place. I just wish we'd see more changes to Jhana, because I think Jhana is doing too much in the game right now. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I'll see you around, and I can get back to playing the game. Yay.